What's going on YouTube? Today we are going to talk about Poison machine from HackTheBox. Now Poison machine, we're going to demonstrate log poisoning concept along with SSH channeling. So first what I'm going to do first, I'm going to connect to HackTheBox network. So I'm basically can download the VPN, and before I spawn the machine, I need to connect to the network. So for my own machine, I'm going to navigate to desktop and spawn VPN. Okay. Alright. Let's now explain the concepts. So what are the concepts that we will demonstrate in this machine? The first thing, guys, we will conduct the recon. Okay. In the recon phase, we will discover, of course, we're gonna use nmap in the recon phase. In the output, we will get two open ports, 80 and 22. So SSH and HTTP. Next stage will be, as you know guys, the weaponization. So in this machine, the weaponization, we're gonna skip the weaponization phase as we have prepared the attacker machine, the attacker tools, everything is ready, and of course there is no delivery. We're not going to deliver any email message to anyone. We have the machine directly to interact with. So weaponization, delivery, and now exploitation. So after this phase, we're going to go to re-exploit. So what we're going to exploit here? So once you open the web page, okay, we will discover an LFI local file inclusion vulnerability. Through the local file inclusion vulnerability, okay, we will discover another vulnerability, which is, so LFI will lead you to discover that there is log poisoning vulnerability as well. Log poisoning. So through log poisoning, we're going to upload a web shell. Okay. Now through the web shell, after the exploitation, it comes to other phase. If you remember, here we have the C2 and C to C. So from web shell to C2C, and of course the catalyst for this is the reverse shell. We're going to use the reverse shell. Okay. Now after we gain access, we will discover that there is a process running as root. So the process that is running as root is the VNC viewer, and it is listening on port 5901. Okay, so there is a process running as root. Here it runs as root, and it listens on port 5901. So it makes sense if we somehow connect to port 5901 from my own machine, of course, attacker machine, and become root. But we need the password. So in order to get the password, through the enumeration phase here, so here we have the actions on objectives. Before the actions on objectives, you will discover here that there is zip file. Zip file contains a binary file called secret. So basically the secret file will be used as an input to connect to the VNC viewer. Of course, in order to do that from my machine, we need to establish DNS tunneling through the current SSH connection. So how I discovered that there is a SSH connection? So basically, first when we discover the page here, okay, and navigate to the page, we will be able to through the exploitation phase, of course, plus there is p64 string, you will decode the string and you will get a password. The combination of the decoded version of the p64 and the username will be able to log into the SSH server. Use the SSH server to establish DNS tunneling, SSH tunneling, and then you will be able to connect to the VNC viewer on 5901. Let's demonstrate it in action. So as you can see here, we have a web page, and we have a box here that is telling us to test these files. So to prepare the website to test local PHP scripts, sites to be tested, info, info, list files, PHP info. Let's try this one, list file, and see what is the output of the execution. Files. So we get a list of files that exist in the current working directory of the script. As you can see, among the files we have the list files, the script PHP script, and we have also one interesting files, password backup text. If we take this file, okay, and go back, submit, we can actually get the content of this file. As you can see, the content is base64. This password is secure. It's encoded at least 13 times. What could really go wrong? Okay, let's take the base64 output, go back, and in a split view here, we're going to add this to a file. Let's name it password. Okay, now the next step here is to decode the file. So if we go back to the note, guys, let's go back to the note. So what do we have here? As you can see, it's encoded at least 13 times. So in order to get the password, we have to decode this base64 string 13 times. To do that, we're going to need the help of scripting skills. So after we stored the base64 in a file here, we're going to use for loops. First, let's store the contents of this file in a variable. Okay, let's name the variable password equal. So inside here we're going to say cat pwd. So what's gonna happen here, the content of the password, after displaying the content of the file with the cat command, it will be stored in the password variable. And next we're going to use for loop for I in, and here we're going to choose a sequence. The sequence will be 1 till 13. So we're going to do 13 iterations in the for loop. What's going to be the actions? The action do password equal. I'm going first to echo the content, okay, of the password file or the password variable, and then pipe that to tr-d, do some cleaning, and then we're going to finally pipe this to base64. So that will be the final step in this for loop, base64-d. Okay, and lastly we're going to echo the contents or the output here. Oops, we forgot the done here. So base64, before the echo here, we have to do done and echo. As you can see, this is the plain text password. And above here, we have the nmap scan results finished. As you can see, we have 22 for SSH and we have 84 hey HTTP. Okay, so now we have a password. What we're supposed to do here, we have here a password, so we can go one of two paths. Choose this password and connect with SSH, but we still need the username, or we can go the web exploitation path. Let's go back. So as you know, guys, whatever we put here, it's gonna get executed, right? So if we again submit, if you take a closer look at the URL, as you can see, it is LFI. It demonstrates LFI vulnerability. So that's the file, browse the file handle, and that's the parameter that allows us to access other files. So simply replace this with etc passwd, and you will get the contents of the password file. As you can see, we are able here to see the users, and we have a user, Charex. As you can see, Charex here can log in and has a home directory, home Charex. So what we can do, we can go back and take the easy path if you want. So no need for the upper tab. Okay, so from here we can say SSH Charex at the IP address of the machine. Let's see where it is. Okay, let's take this here. Going to say yes. Waiting for the password prompt. So that's one path you can take. So here's the password prompt, and we are connected now to the machine. But obviously this is the easiest path, and if you want to challenge yourself, you need to take the other path. So basically, if we go back here, guys, so as of now we know that there is file inclusion vulnerability. Okay, now whenever there is file inclusion vulnerability, there is a chance for log poisoning attack. Okay, so the log poisoning attack starts with determining the location of the access log file. Okay, now then this is Apache server. We're going to need to find out where is the current www root path for the Apache web server. So basically we have to spawn an error here. Okay, let's spawn an error here. For example, say test.text. As you can see, this is 404 error, and this is the path, user local www Apache 24. That's the root path, or www root. Okay, now from this path we can determine the location of the configuration file of the web server. So user local www Apache 24, and then it's gonna be /httpd.conf. So let's take this and write httpd.conf. We want to display the configuration of the web server. Displaying the configuration of the web server will help us determine the location of the error log and the access log files, both. This file also doesn't exist. Let's go back. So user local, let's replace www with etc, because it's in etc, not www. Submit, and here is the configuration file. I know it's very overwhelming to deal with this file or with this output format. So what we're going to do, we're going to search for the word access log. So let's search for logs, user local Apache 2 logs access _ logs. Obviously this is not the one. Most log files are located under the directory var log. Let's search there. As you can see, we get the error log. It's under var log http error log. That's not the log file we want. We want the access logs. Let's keep searching, and we have this var log httpd -access log. This is the log file we want. Let's take a look at this file. So this is the contents of the file. As you can see, we have all of the access attempts we have generated during this session. As you can see, this is the HTTP request type, and this is the user agent, and this is the IP address and the timestamp. So we have, that's the format. Okay, as you can see. And here's the nmap scan attempt. So, and this is the user agent, the IP address, and the timestamp. So request type, user agent, IP address, and timestamp. So for log poisoning to work, we have to select one of these. It's going to be either the user agent, injecting the user agent, the IP address, or the timestamp here. Most probably, most of the cases, it's going to be the user agent. So to find out, we have to try. So let's go to the purpose suite here, and we have the recept on, and generate a request. Let's leave the access log as is here, and a new tab. Okay, so what we are going to do here, guys, we're going to inject the user agent. So instead of the current user agent here, I'm going to do a test. So use a simple PHP web shell, system underscore get, and here we have to put 2 single quotes, and we select the parameter name. It's going to be, say, CMD semicolon, and this is it. So this is a simple web shell, okay, that lets you use the parameter CMD to execute system commands. Okay, now let's drop this there and take a look at the access log. What happened there? Refresh. Okay, so as you can see, we have a new entry that has been generated. This is the request, and we have here, as you can see, instead of the user agent, we have this warning: system cannot execute a blank command in var log httpd on line 30. So that's correct, because we haven't provided any command to the CMD parameter. That's why it's complaining here that we have not provided a command. So basically, as you can see, it worked. We have to now provide a command. So and CMD equals, say, ID. And as you can see, we get the ID of the current user. So what is next? Next is to get access to the machine, so through a reverse shell. So this tab is an SSH tab. I'm going in line with this tab to use a new tab here, okay, and in here nclvp 4545. Let's go back and go to purpose suite, so to decoder, and here I'm going to take a reverse shell here. Let's see where I can take a reverse shell. Let's use this one, netcat one-liner. Copy that. I'm going to copy this to the decoder in purpose because I want to convert this to a URL encode format. So basically, the next thing I want is the IP address of my machine. So we're going to go back here and a new tab. So this is my IP address. Back to purpose suite, change the current IP with my IP, change the port to 4545, and encode this as URL. Okay, great. We copy that and we go back here, replace the command ID with the reverse shell. Hopefully we get a connection. And indeed we get a connection here. So ID, as you can see, we have an access now. So it's up to you. You either choose the log poisoning path or you choose the easy path here with the SSH. So after we have landed a foothold on the machine, it's time now to enumerate. Since we have demonstrated both ways, I'm going to use the most stable one using SSH server, but I'm going to keep this to entertain your eyes as we have 2 sessions. So let's start from here. Start enumeration. As you can see, we have the user flag and we have secret file, cat user and we get the flag. Okay, now as far as for the zip file, so if you try to unzip the file, unzip, as you can see, passphrase is required for this entry, and it doesn't allow me to put any attempts or trial for the passphrase. As you can see, it just tells you there is a passphrase required and this is it. It's like telling you, shut up, passphrase is required, and that's it. So what I did here, guys, I transferred the file to my machine using SCP. So let me show you here. Okay, using this command. So using this command, guys, we use the current SSH session we have. Okay, we put the path to the file, it's home under home, Charix, and this is the zip file, and we choose the destination path in my machine. It's gonna be on desktop. After we execute this command, it's gonna ask for the SSH password. It's already a given, or so we already have this password. We provide the password here for the prompt, and we download the file. So ls, so this is the file. Now when you issue unzip secret, it's gonna ask for the password. Provide the password, which is the same as SSH password, by the way. It happens to be the same password for the SSH user. So if I delete here the secret, okay, and say unzip secret, now it's asking me for the password. So the password is, here is the password, the same as the SSH password. How do we know? It is just, we guessed that, guys, that's it. File secret. So it's not clear yet what this binary file does, so we keep it for now. Let's go back. Okay, so now we know that there is a secret file that we don't know what to do with. Okay, let's now explore further in the machine to be able to answer this question. What does this file do? What's the use of this file? So if you look at the netstat, the current connections, all right, so this one is a bit, the output is a bit, I don't like it. Let's clean the output a bit. Netstat -an -p TCP, maybe only TCP connections. Okay, as you can see, the machine is listening on various ports. So it's listening on port, let's see here, yeah, 8022. And we have, as you can see, 5801, 5901. So it's not clear yet what are these ports. So we have to find out by looking at the processes or the process list. So ps-aux auwx. This is the list of all processes. Okay. ps-a UWX grep 5901. So doing that will get us the process that's using this port. As you can see, guys, this is the list. So the process is running as root, and it is VNC viewer, and this is the command, by the way. So this is the command options, and among the arguments we have RFB authentication, the path for the password to the VNC server, and we have the port, it's listening on 5901. Okay, so simply if we can cat this file, we can get the password. Unfortunately, it's under root and we will get permission denied. So what to do now? We have a process listening on port 5901. Okay, and we cannot connect to this port from the current access from our machine unless we do SSH tunneling. Okay, before doing SSH tunneling, we have to figure out a way to access the VNC server. Okay, so knowing that we have a secret file here but that we don't know what to do with, we can provide the file as an input, okay, to the password option in VNC during the connection to the VNC server. So let's go back and figure this out. First, tail proxy chains okay. So what I did here, guys, is at the very end of the proxy chains file, I put an entry here to, as you can see, use the port 8585 as a proxy port on my local machine. The next step now, if you remember, I have a current active SSH connection. I can use that session, okay, to establish dynamic or to do some sort of dynamic SSH tunneling on this port. The idea is that I want to connect to the port 5901, okay, that happens to be the VNC server, okay, from my own machine using port 8585. So let's first establish the dynamic tunnel SSH chirx. As you can see, it's here, but I have to replace the IP address because this is the old IP address from the first attempt on this machine. And I guess now I will be prompted for the password. I have to copy the password. Let's split the view. Okay. Paste. Okay. Now to the right here, we should now be able to connect to the VNC server from my machine. So, but of course, I'm going to use proxy chains as a prefix to the command. Okay, VNC viewer, the local IP address, and this is the port I use for the forward. And here the password, in the password option, I provide the secret file. But here there is a problem. It should not be the port. It should be the port 5901 because the VNC server here lists on port 5901. So when I issue this command, it can use proxy chains. It will connect to the port 8585. All right. And since I have a dynamic tunnel on 8585, it's going to forward this to 5901. Okay. I will be able to connect. Let's try this one. And it is successful. As you can see, I get VNC session, and I have, as you can see, command line access as root. So ls id, and you are the root user here. So cat root text, and this marks the end of this challenge. I hope you guys like this, and I will definitely see you in the next video.